protecting our kids as best as we can, and also understanding the role that they play in this really historical family.
For years, there have been claims that Meghan and Harry had their children through surrogacy. Now Prince William has taken an action that some say could shed light on the matter. According to reports, a thorough investigation was launched to examine the circumstances surrounding Meghan's pregnancies. What was later uncovered has left many people speechless. The truth that had been hidden for years has now come to light. But what did the investigation actually reveal? Join us as we uncover the surprising details behind Meghan's pregnancies and the findings that shocked the public. Why William ordered a DNA test on Meghan's pregnancy. Prince William allegedly ordered a DNA test for Prince Harry's children, Archie and Lilibet, following the long-term rumored paternity allegations. Although this is yet to be officially confirmed by Prince William, many believe that, if true, it is a right step, as it could help settle the long-standing surrogacy controversies surrounding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. But how did all of this begin? Stay tuned, because you are about to hear the full details of Meghan Markle's pregnancy. The surrogacy controversies surrounding Meghan Markle started sometime around 2019, in the weeks leading up to the birth of her first child, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. At first, the conversation was small. It lived mostly on blogs, royal-watching forums, and social media pages that closely followed every movement of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But after Archie was born in May 2019, the talk grew louder and more organized, turning into one of the most persistent controversies attached to the couple. Unlike previous royal births, Meghan and Harry chose not to pose outside the hospital with their newborn. For decades, the public had become used to seeing royal mothers present their babies within hours of delivery. Princess Diana did it. Kate Middleton did it 3 times. Meghan and Harry refused. They said they wanted privacy. Critics said the refusal was suspicious. That was the first spark. Then came confusion about the timing of the birth announcement. Buckingham Palace initially told the press that Meghan had gone into labor. Later, it was revealed that Archie had already been born earlier. To supporters, this was simply an effort to control media attention. But to skeptics, this looked like the palace was giving out information that did not match reality. Some commentators asked why there had been a delay at all if everything was straightforward. The secrecy around the location of the birth added more fuel. It was eventually reported that Archie was born at the private Portland Hospital in London, but details were kept tightly guarded. No signatures from medical staff were publicly shown in the way royal watchers were accustomed to seeing. Many began to say that the lack of transparency created room for doubt. Around this same time, photographs and videos from Meghan's pregnancy started being re-examined online. Some users claimed her baby bump appeared to change size from day to day. Others pointed to moments when the bump seemed unusually high or low. This is where the phrase "moon bump" began to circulate, a term conspiracy theorists use to describe a prosthetic pregnancy belly. There was no proof offered, but the theory spread widely across the media and royal gossip blogs. As weeks passed, the discussion moved from speculation to direct accusations by some public figures. One of the most vocal was Lady Colin Campbell, a royal author and commentator. She repeatedly questioned the official version of events and argued that there should be clarity about whether Meghan had physically given birth. She suggested that if surrogacy had been used, it could raise questions under royal succession traditions, which historically required heirs to be born of the body. Her statements were widely shared and debated, but that is not even all. Meghan's estranged family members entered the conversation. Her half-sister, Samantha Markle,
"If she'll do this to our family, she'll do this to yours. I love her, she's my sister, but humanitarians and diplomats don't behave like this,"
gave interviews in which she said she believed surrogacy was possible. She referenced conversations she claimed their father, Thomas Markle, had described about Meghan freezing her eggs years earlier. Samantha did not provide evidence, but her comments were repeated in tabloids across the UK and the United States. Because the claims came from a family member, they gained traction even among people who had not followed earlier speculation. Through late 2019 and into 2020, social media became the main engine driving the narrative. Entire accounts were dedicated to analyzing Meghan's pregnancy photos, frame by frame. Some users claimed videos showed the bump folding when she sat down. Others insisted her movements were too flexible for someone in late pregnancy. Some bloggers said medical experts believed the way she moved did not look normal during pregnancy, but they hardly mentioned any names. There was no proof, yet because people kept repeating it, the claim continued to spread. Then Prince Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in early 2020 and moved to North America. Their departure, often called Megxit, intensified distrust among those who already believed the couple had broken royal norms. To those audiences, the move away from Britain looked like an attempt to avoid scrutiny. When Harry released details years later in his memoir Spare, some readers focused on his description of Archie's birth, particularly how quickly they returned home afterward. Commentators online argued that the timeline sounded unusually fast for a first birth. Again, these interpretations were debated heavily, even though medical experiences vary widely from person to person. In 2021, when the couple announced the birth of their daughter, Lilibet Diana, in California, the entire conversation reignited. Because the birth took place in the United States, outside the traditional royal system, there was even less public information released. From there, the allegations escalated. Some commentators openly called for Prince Harry to provide proof of paternity, including DNA confirmation, arguing that such evidence would silence speculation. These calls did not come from any official institution, but from media personalities. Another layer to the controversy came from legal and historical discussions about royal lineage rules. Commentators explained that, traditionally, children in the line of succession must be biologically born to the royal mother. This led some critics to argue that, if surrogacy had occurred, it could have implications. By the mid-2020s, the controversy followed the same pattern. No new evidence came out, but the talk never stopped. Every time Harry and Meghan appeared in public, gave an interview, or shared a photo of their children, the debate started again. Even with these claims continuing, no verified public record has supported the surrogacy allegations. Official accounts have always said Meghan gave birth to both children. Still, the controversy remains, debated, but never settled in public opinion. But what could be the consequences if Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had actually used surrogacy as members of the royal family? Let's find out. What you don't know about paternity in the royal family. Paternity is a serious issue in the British royal family because of succession. For hundreds of years, the monarchy has treated it as something extremely important. A child's right to inherit the throne has always depended on whether they were born within a lawful marriage. Long ago, if a royal married without permission, the marriage could be declared invalid, and any children from it would not be allowed to inherit. The Royal Marriages Act of 1772, for example, was meant to protect the status of the royal family. If the king or queen did not approve a marriage, it was treated as void, and the children were considered illegitimate. Even though this law was replaced in 2013 with the Succession to the Crown Act, which relaxed some marriage rules, the principle stayed the same. Only children from recognized marriages were normally in line for the throne. Because of these traditions, questions about who a child's father is can be very serious. Today, paternity testing is easy and reliable. What might have been ignored centuries ago could now cause legal reviews and public debates. People want to know if a child is really descended from the royal parent, because that determines their right to inherit titles and positions. The monarchy never formally used scientific tests in the past, but as society learns more about genetics and parentage, there is growing public interest in who the real parents are and how that connects to succession. The idea of paternity fraud, where someone is not actually the father of a child they are believed to have fathered, is particularly sensitive. If there is any doubt about a child's connection to the monarch, it could lead to challenges about their place in the line of succession. Even though modern laws are more equal now, sons and daughters have the same rights. The main rule is still clear. Succession depends on legitimate and direct descent. Surrogacy makes this even more complicated. Using a surrogate does not mean the child's parentage is fake. The parents can still be the biological mother and father. But it does raise questions about how the birth happened, how open the family is about it, and whether it fits the traditional expectations of the royal family. In history, there is no evidence that senior royals have ever used surrogates in a way that affected the line of succession. Surrogacy is extremely rare, or maybe even non-existent in British royal history. What history does show is that many monarchs had illegitimate children. Henry I, who ruled from 1100 to 1135, is thought to have had around 25 children outside marriage. They were recognized socially but could not inherit the throne. Charles II, ruling from 1660 to 1685, had at least 14 children with different mistresses. None of them were in line for the throne. William III, who ruled from 1830 to 1837, had 10 children with his long-term partner Dorothea Jordan. They were socially recognized, but not legally eligible to inherit. There were also marriages that royals entered without permission, making their children illegitimate in the eyes of the law. Prince Augustus, Duke of Sussex, married Lady Augusta Murray in 1793 without proper approval. Their marriage was declared void, and their children could not inherit. These examples do not involve modern paternity fraud, where someone deliberately lies about who a child's father is, but they show how serious legitimacy has been historically. Unclear lines of descent could affect inheritance, titles, and even political stability. Over time, succession law became stricter to prevent disputes. For centuries, wars and political problems happened because it was unclear who was the legitimate heir, so the royal family learned to enforce strict rules about birth and lineage. When it comes to Harry and Meghan, rumors about surrogacy have appeared in recent years, especially in tabloids and on social media. Some people have claimed that Meghan and Harry used a surrogate for their children: Archie, born in May 2019, and Lilibet, born in June 2021. Some commentators have said this could affect the children's place in the line of succession. These claims have been amplified by authors like Lady Colin Campbell, who has questioned the details of the children's births. Official sources, including Buckingham Palace and Harry and Meghan, have not confirmed any surrogacy. Fact-checkers have rated these rumors as false. For instance, a supposed Kensington Palace social media post about a surrogate birth was fake, and news coverage of Archie and Lilibet's births did not mention surrogacy. Still, the fact that people talk about it shows how sensitive the public and media are about legitimacy. Paternity and succession remain topics people watch closely. If it were ever revealed that a royal child was born through surrogacy, the consequences would depend on the law at that time. Today, succession is based on recognized descent, not on the method of birth. As long as a child is biologically linked to a royal parent and meets existing rules on religion and marriage consent, that child's place in the line of succession remains secure. Surrogacy, on its own, does not remove those rights. However, it can still trigger public debate, especially among traditionalists who place great importance on clearly defined bloodlines. In situations like this, reactions from the public and political voices could include calls for greater transparency from the royal household. Lawmakers might even consider whether existing legislation should address surrogacy and other modern reproductive methods. Broader questions about what legitimacy means in a modern monarchy could also arise. While a legal challenge to a child's status would be extremely difficult under current law, the reputational impact of rumors can be significant. Even unproven claims can shape public perception, fuel media criticism, and create strain within both family relationships and public life. However, in the case of although such claims have been repeated many times, the rumors largely appear to be falsehoods directed at them. There are also surrounding circumstances and factual points that strongly challenge these controversial allegations. What exactly are these facts? Keep watching to find out. The truth behind the rumors about Meghan's pregnancy. The rumors that Meghan Markle used a surrogate did not begin with any verified medical evidence. They grew slowly out of suspicion, internet speculation, and criticism of how different her pregnancies looked compared to earlier royal births. To understand why those claims continue to circulate and why there is still no factual proof supporting them, you have to go back to the beginning and examine what actually happened, what was said publicly, and what is documented versus what is simply commentary. When Meghan's first pregnancy was announced in October 2018, the news was shared with the royal family at the wedding of Princess Eugenie, something Prince Harry later confirmed in his memoir. Spare recounts that they revealed the pregnancy privately to relatives that day. This establishes that the pregnancy was known within the family months before Archie's birth and not something suddenly introduced later. Their son, Archie Harrison, was born on the 6th of May 2019 in London. Harry gave a television statement shortly after the delivery, describing the birth as amazing and saying he was so incredibly proud of his wife. The couple introduced the baby publicly 2 days later at Windsor Castle, rather than staging the traditional hospital steps photo call that had become familiar during previous royal births. That break from tradition became one of the first sparks for conspiracy thinking, even though choosing privacy is not evidence of surrogacy. Harry's own detailed description of the labor in his memoir strongly contradicts the idea that Meghan was not physically present. He wrote that a nurse placed the newborn on Meghan's chest immediately after birth, and that both parents cried on seeing their son. He also recounted the very ordinary, messy details of labor bouncing on an exercise ball, using pain relief, and doctors eventually administering an epidural. These are highly specific, first-hand observations typical of a partner in the delivery room, not second-hand reporting. He even admitted to accidentally inhaling some of the nitrous oxide meant to ease Meghan's pain, joking about trying to calm himself during labor. Such mundane and sometimes embarrassing anecdotes are hard to reconcile with the claim that the pregnancy was staged. They read more like an unfiltered birth story than a scripted narrative. Medical settings are also consistently referenced. Archie's birth is described as taking place at London's Portland Hospital, where Meghan labored with medical staff present. The existence of a hospital location, attending clinicians, and contemporaneous accounts aligns with a conventional delivery, not a hidden surrogacy arrangement. 2 years later, their daughter Lilibet Diana was born in June 2021 at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital in California after the couple had moved to the United States. Harry again described being physically present and even standing beside the doctor as the baby crowned. Recalling the tense moment when he worried she was not breathing before she cried, these repeated first-hand birth narratives across 2 children weaken the argument that both pregnancies were fabricated. Meghan Markle didn't stay silent. She had revealed some shocking truths. Meghan had spoken openly about the physical realities of pregnancy, including gaining about 65 pounds during each pregnancy and dealing with the strain of public life while expecting. Such admissions involve bodily changes that would be unusual to volunteer if trying to maintain a false narrative. Supporters of the surrogacy theory often focus not on medical evidence, but on deviations from royal custom. For example, Archie's birth announcement did not follow the same highly choreographed pattern used for earlier royal babies, and the couple chose to keep many details private. That lack of visibility created space for suspicion, but there is not enough evidence to prove that Meghan and Harry used surrogacy. One of the most consistent sources of the surrogacy claims comes from online conspiracy activists and trolls, not mainstream media. Among the names repeatedly associated with this early online campaign are Sadie Quinlan and Kislaird Connolly, nicknamed Murky Meg, along with Natasha Cannell. These individuals were part of a private group on the social platform MeWe, where they promoted conspiracies about Meghan's pregnancies that later spread to Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and other sites. They shared doctored images and repeated claims that Meghan's baby bump was fake, or that she never physically carried her children at all. Closely tied to that online campaign was Samantha Markle, Meghan's half-sister. Samantha repeatedly made public comments fueling speculation about surrogacy. At one point, she cited remarks from her father, Thomas Markle, claiming he told her months before Archie's birth that Meghan had picked up her frozen eggs, suggesting that a surrogate may have been involved. Samantha publicly questioned why, if Meghan was pregnant herself, the couple announced and presented their child the way they did, weaving her personal comments into the broader web of unfounded surrogacy claims. Samantha has also voiced that Archie and Lilibet should be removed from the line of succession on the basis that, in her view, they don't belong on it because they were born from surrogates, a direct statement implying surrogacy despite there being no credible evidence. Another name repeatedly referenced in tabloids and conspiracy forums is Lady Colin Campbell, a British-based royal author and commentator known for controversial opinions about the royal family. Campbell has not presented medical evidence, but she has publicly urged greater transparency around the births of Archie and Lilibet and suggested, without substantiation, that the situation stinks to high heaven and that the couple should clarify exactly how the children were born, implying that unanswered questions fuel speculation. This has been picked up by certain media reports as a leading voice questioning the narrative, even though she hasn't produced proof of surrogacy itself. In mainstream media commentary, Megyn Kelly has contributed to the atmosphere where the rumor recirculates. While Kelly has not explicitly said Meghan used a surrogate, she has publicly criticized Meghan's pregnant dancing video, a clip of Meghan in a hospital room shortly before Lilibet's birth, calling it bizarre, uncomfortable, and saying it recalls one of those conspiracy theories on the internet that she might not have actually carried her babies. These divisive comments, broadcast to a wide audience, gave further oxygen to the conspiracy and encouraged viewers to link the video to ideas of fakery, rather than dismiss it outright. Some individuals online have even taken the rumor into wildly speculative territory without any factual basis, such as claiming Meghan had a hysterectomy years earlier, or that her body posture and fashion choices prove she wasn't physically pregnant. It's also worth noting that none of these people with large followings, Quinlan, Connolly, Cannell, Samantha, or Thomas Markle, Lady Colin Campbell, or commentators like Megyn Kelly, have provided one shred of medically verifiable evidence to substantiate surrogacy claims. As a result of this relentless speculation, Prince Harry has expressed that he believes his wife, Meghan, is facing a similar kind of scrutiny that his mother, Princess Diana, endured. Though in Diana's case, the accusations focused on whether Charles was truly Harry's biological father, not surrogacy. Let's find out the full story. The truth about Prince Harry's paternity. Princess Diana was accused of being romantically involved with other men even while married to Prince Charles, which eventually sparked speculation about the true paternity of Prince Harry. From the start, her marriage was troubled, and Diana often sought emotional support outside the royal household. The first man she was rumored to have a close connection with was Barry Manicky, a British police officer assigned as her personal protection officer in the early 80s. Manicky was not a tutor or teacher, as some rumors suggested. He was responsible for her security, but Diana grew very close to him. Friends and historians later noted that Diana confided in him during her unhappy marriage and described him as her first real emotional refuge. While there is no solid evidence that their relationship was physical, their closeness was enough to spark speculation. Manicky was eventually reassigned by the royal household because of concerns about the nature of his bond with Diana, which fueled rumors even further. After her emotional attachment to Manaki, Diana was rumored to have shared a close friendship with Oliver Hoare, an art dealer, during the late 80s. Their relationship was described as a source of companionship and understanding for Diana during a period when her separation from Charles was looming. Though there were suggestions of intimacy, there is no verified proof of a sexual affair. Still, the public fascination with Diana's life meant that every close connection was scrutinized and sensationalized. Hoare reportedly became someone she trusted, someone who listened to her frustrations, and someone who offered comfort that her marriage could not provide. Next came Dr. Hasnat Khan, the Pakistani heart surgeon whom Diana reportedly met in 1995. This relationship was more private, but widely acknowledged by Diana's friends and biographers. She was said to have been deeply in love with Khan, and he became one of the most serious relationships of her later life. Though it remained largely confidential, her attachment to him was real. This romance, however, had no bearing on the question of Prince Harry's paternity. But there is one man whose alleged affairs with Princess Diana carried far more weight in public speculation, and his name is James Hewitt. Hewitt was a British Army officer who served in the Household Cavalry and reportedly met Diana in the mid-1980s. Their friendship quickly developed into a passionate affair, which lasted for several years and became public knowledge through interviews Hewitt later gave. Unlike Diana's previous companions, Hewitt's involvement was widely confirmed. It is from this affair that rumors about Prince Harry's paternity emerged. Some observers pointed to physical traits, most notably Harry's red hair, suggesting a resemblance to Hewitt rather than Prince Charles. Some conspiracy theories even claimed that the royal family tried to suppress or control details about Diana's life, though there is no verified evidence of such interference. However, the timeline makes it clear that these claims are false. Prince Harry was born in September 1984, while Diana's confirmed affair with Hewitt began in 1986, at least a year after Harry's birth. Even if there were earlier interactions, credible sources confirm that the romantic and sexual relationship with Hewitt started after Harry was conceived. Furthermore, Harry's red hair is fully explained by genetics. The Spencer family, Diana's lineage, carried the red hair gene. Diana herself had auburn tones, and other family members exhibited red hair, meaning that Harry's appearance is consistent with his maternal ancestry. Physical traits such as eye color, too, are influenced by multiple genes and can vary widely between children and parents. Differences in Harry's appearance compared to Charles do not indicate alternative paternity. They are entirely plausible within the inheritance from Diana and her family. Genetics, combined with the timeline of Diana's relationships, decisively disprove the claim that Hewitt or any other man could be Harry's father. The rumors were further fueled by Diana's tragic death in 1997. Conspiracy theories tied her early relationships to untimely deaths or other dramatic events, suggesting without evidence that the royal family had orchestrated events to protect the monarchy. Such stories remain unverified and only serve to intensify public fascination with Diana and the question of Harry's parentage. In reality, Prince Harry's birth, his red hair, and other physical traits align perfectly with the Spencer family genetics. Diana's earlier emotional connection to Manaki, her friendships with Oliver Hoare and Hasnat Khan, and her later affair with James Hewitt occurred after or well after Harry's conception. The romantic or emotional significance of these relationships does not therefore affect the fact that Prince Charles is Harry's biological father. All of these experiences and false claims led Prince Harry to say that his wife, Meghan, is facing a situation similar to what his mother, Princess Diana, endured. The lack of support Meghan received from the royal family serves as a clear example of why Harry felt compelled to speak out. Do you think the claim that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry used a surrogate is true? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.